this is a really important time because, again, it's a fresh start. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody has any history on you. Nobody knows about the time you peed your pants in first grade, right? Like nobody knows about that. And those types of internal blocks and things that have created who you are today can be completely stripped away. Right now, it is about the second week of July, and that means we have about, I'd say on average, 6 weeks left for students who are going to be a freshman in college. Whew! Yeah, there's a lot to get done, right? There's a lot of trips to IKEA. There's a lot of figuring out, I think a lot of trips to IKEA. That's a big one. We're kind of thinking about what our classes are going to look like, what our schedules are going to look like. At the same time, there's really a lot of unknowns, right? We're trying to still get to see our high school friends as much as we can before we go off to college. And there is a lot of transition at this point in their lives. Now, what's interesting is my transition from high school to college was a little rocky, partially because I wasn't ready for the type of autonomy that, the academic autonomy that was given to me. I think that's where high school could have probably helped a little bit more prepare for that. Granted, I'm giving myself a lot of the credit there. Either way, it was a rocky start, and it was fine. But I think something I missed was that this is a fresh start. I asked my wife tonight. I said, "Hey, you loved BC. She went to Boston College. She loved it. Such the best 4 years of her life." I said, "What would you have liked to learn prior to going to school? Like, what would you have liked to have known if you can go back in time?" And she said to realize that this is a fresh start. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about that with you today. It is a fresh start. And I think we have a real interesting identity crisis going on when it comes to high school students, because a lot of times they don't know who they are. Yet, there are also many students who have chosen a major and now have told themselves, this is my identity. I am going to be, like myself, a high school band director. I am going to be, a Wall Street person. I'm going to be a pediatric nurse practitioner. I'm going to be whatever it is. And that also is an issue because there is so much time and so many things that will happen throughout the time that they start their freshman bachelor degree to the time they actually land their first job, and then even some. There's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of growth within that time. So I think the identity crisis is really interesting because it's very prevalent, and I think it's something that we really need to discuss with our students, because while you have one student on one hand who has absolutely no idea what they're doing, but they really want to go to college, so they're going to some 4-year private university, and they're really shelling out for it, and that's their decision. There's another student who knows exactly what they want to do, and they're going to a specific school because they have a specific, whether it's a school of music or a professor they want to study with or whatever it may be. And then you have a lot of people in the middle as well. But again, is an opportunity for a fresh start. It's an opportunity to redefine yourself. It's an opportunity to redefine your values and your view of the world, because if you don't redefine it for yourself in the beginning, it's going to be redefined for you, because you're going to go to school and you're going to be part of a community with a ton of different people from a ton of different areas of the world. You're going to have international students, and then you're obviously going to have a whole slew of people from the South, from the Midwest, from the East, and all these different areas. They're going to have very different walks of life. So you either are going to have a real big culture shock, which is you should anyway, because it's part of the experience. or you're going to actually be able to go into a situation with open arms. And again, I think it's just a really interesting time to redefine yourself. For me, when I went to college, when I went to my undergrad, I had many ideas about what it meant to be a professional, what it meant to be a student. I had many things that I thought I already knew, and I was extremely wrong. I had a very narrow lens of the world, and throughout those 4 years, I could tell you those were just the beginnings of me opening my eyes to the rest of the world. And again, that's a natural occurrence. But what I did not do was I did not use that opportunity for a fresh start. So I think a tactical way to, because I'm saying all this, and that's fine, whatever, like what is a fresh start? What does that actually mean for, Johnny or Sally going into, by the way, I know nobody's named Sally anymore. I get it. But if there's Sally's watching there, awesome. Happy to have you. But, like what do we actually do? So I think there is a process I've talked about on this show once or twice before, but it's a really good opportunity to go through, and it's called a life vision exercise. And this can take many different routes. This can take many different forms, but some type of life vision. And I'll spell out the way I've defined my life vision for me, and I reflect on it. I read it through once a week. I rewrite it every, say, 3 to 6 months. And that's my process. It keeps me grounded, and it keeps me kind of on track to who I am and who I want to be. So it works like this. The new school year is coming up fast, and that means a whole bunch of new freshmen are coming into your building. My question to you is, how are you going to set the tone? What will your freshman orientation look like? I still have some availability left to present my program at your school for freshman orientations. So if you're interested, just head over to kevinmckella.com. Click book a call, where you'll be able to set up a quick discovery call with me to find out a little bit more about my program and how it'll fit into your freshman orientation and how I can better serve your students and set the tone for the 24-25 school year. First, there's your vision. What is your vision for your life and your vision of the world? What does it look like for you to operate your day-to-day? Like, who are you? That's your vision. And again, if you go online, you can type in life vision exercise. You'll get a ton of different stuff. And then I go on to my purpose, because my vision for my life and my energy and my love and my ambitions and all these things are different than my purpose, because there's a reason I'm here. There's a reason I am alive today. And I get to define that. It's not pre-written. It's not. I get to define my purpose for being here. And my purpose, off the top of my head, is something along the lines of helping people find themselves and find their true power within to move from one place to another and grow as a human being. That's my purpose, to help facilitate that, obviously directly with young teens. And then I move on to my mission. Now, my purpose and my mission, you would say, oh, it kind of sounds very similar, but a mission is more tactical. Like, what am I actually going to do? Well, I'm going to, do live assembly programs for high school students to talk about decision-making frameworks and choices and resilience and willpower and all those things. So that's my mission. And then I go into a code of conduct. This is a pretty crucial one, and it's fairly simple, and I think sometimes maybe often gets kind of like thrown, I'm going to write some fluffy words, but really write some words down for your code of conduct, because then you can look back once a week or once every day, however you want to do it, and look at this code of conduct and say, am I that person, or was I a completely different person today? Was I a faithful, was I a punctual, was I a respectful person today? Was I a ambitious, polite, fun-loving person today? These are all adjectives that you can write down to create your code of conduct. And that pretty much is a fairly abbreviated version of the life vision exercise. Now, I take it one step further, and I do kind of areas of improvement of my life, what I want to do. So this vision, I want to actually execute this vision into chunks and buckets of my life. And this is where you have a huge, wide range of things, so especially if you're a younger student that is going from high school to college. You are still creating these buckets. Many of you listening to this may not have a bucket for faith. You may not have a bucket for finances yet. You probably have no finances. You know what I mean? Like, there's not that much. So it may look like for you family, or even family and friends in two different buckets, or maybe just relationships, professional life, and maybe hobbies and activities. Maybe you just have three buckets. For me, I have about, I think, 5, and that is relationships, work, hobbies and activities. Health is a big one, right? Both physical and mental. And I separate those into 2 different buckets. So either way, that's where I'm able to say, okay, here's all my buckets. Now, what am I doing every year, every month, and every day to improve upon these buckets and improve upon these areas of my life will then lift up and fulfill this vision that I've wrote for myself. And it's like as simple as that. So that is tactically how we can redefine ourselves as human being when we go from high school to college, because we're no longer a child. We're not. We may be acting like children sometimes, and that's fine. But we are 18 and we are adults. We are legal adults. You do something bad, you commit a crime, you are being treated as an adult. You get pulled over, whatever. Like you are an adult. That's it. And that's sometimes a hard transition. I will say this. When you go about this process of redefining who you are and what you want to become, try to be authentic to who you are down to your DNA. I'm not talking about trying to put on an act. I'm not talking about trying to, make up a fake backstory about your life and, spout all these lies to your friends in the dorm. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your inner values, your inner mission, who you are as a person, and what you think about other people, what your decisions are when problems arise. Those are the types of things I'm talking about when it comes to redefining who you are as a person. And I think this is a great opportunity. It's just a simple exercise, but you have the summer to do this. You have some time. You can find some time. You may be working. You may be, obviously you're prepping for college. Like I said, you're taking those IKEA trips. I get it. Your Amazon cart is full to the brim. I understand. But this is a really important time because, again, it's a fresh start. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody has any history on you. Nobody knows about the time you peed your pants in first grade, right? Like nobody knows about that. And those types of internal blocks and things that have created who you are today can be completely stripped away. And you can walk into that university a fresh, brand new person. And I think for some of us, that could be so liberating. And some of us, it's not even something we even thought about. When I went to college, I myself had a great high school experience. I didn't really even recognize that I needed to do that. But at the same time, I should have, because I brought some of that garbage from high school into college. Like I still had this prankster type of mentality. Not that I was actually pulling pranks or anything, but like I had this like need to be wanted and the need to feel special and significant and all this stuff. And that's fine. But, it presented itself in a very cocky and ridiculous way most of the time. So I would have benefited from a restructured type of reimagined life of who I want to be and who I am at that moment. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you are able to help your students or help your children for that matter, whoever's watching, redefine and reshape who they are and who they want to become in the next 6 weeks, get in a really great headspace as they enter their first semester of college, which is something they'll never forget and memories they'll have for the rest of their life. If you like today's episode, then let me know by hitting like, hitting subscribe, and hitting the bell notification so you can be notified every time I release a new video. And let me know. I want to know about your transition to college, and if you could have benefited from some type of vision exercise like this. I want to know. Leave a comment below. If you like today's episode, then I think you'll also probably like this one right over here.